The top stories tonight in Y News. The Philippines will be needing more stockpiles of oxygen tanks and hospitals as the government prepares for the impact of the COVID-19 Delta variant.
Manila residents braved heavy rains and floods to get their jabs today as they fear the more contagious coronavirus Delta variant.
President Rodrigo Duterte begins rehearsing for his final State of the Nation address next week. What could be included in the president's speech? The Department of Labor and Employment to host a dialogue following the suspension of a number of Foodpanda riders who are protesting the food delivery firm's payment system.
The southwest monsoon, enhanced by Typhoon Fabian, will continue to trigger rains over Metro Manila and several parts of Luzon.
And No Wise Singing can now help treat patients experiencing long COVID-19 symptoms. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Quezon City. Today is Wednesday, July 21, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Social Rescue social media accounts and our website untvweb.com. I am Kat Dumaraos.
First in the news. Health experts continue to warn the public to avoid super spreader events and mass gatherings to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 Delta variant. The variant, which is now dominating in other countries, has a high viral load but shows the same symptoms. Meanwhile, health authorities say the Philippines may need to double up the stockpiles of oxygen tanks in the hospitals. Our health correspondent, Aiko Miguel, will tell us why.
Common symptoms of COVID-19 infection are fever, cough, body and headache, sore throat, and loss of smell and taste. According to infectious disease expert Dr. Rotjin Solante, the same symptoms apply to patients with the Delta COVID-19 variant. That is why they must be more careful.
Pareho lang ang sintomas kung ano man yung mga variants of concern. So, walang unique na symptom na makikita lang doon sa isang variant.
And despite having the same symptoms, persons infected with the Delta variant has a higher chance to be hospitalized and experience severe or critical COVID-19 infection.
Siguro isa lang kaibahan dito that if you have a virus that has a higher viral load, then yung risk mo na ma-hospitalize will also be higher compared to the other variants of concern. But for the manifestation, more or less it's still the same as that with other variants of concern.
Dr. Solante reminds the public that Delta variant is more transmissible. This is because a person positive of the variant can infect 5 to 8 more people. However, the expert assures that all COVID-19 vaccines with emergency use authorization in the Philippines is effective against variants like the Delta. But a person who is fully vaccinated has low risk of getting severe COVID-19 infection, hospitalization, and even death. The health department also worries over the possible surge of COVID-19 cases in the country due to Delta variant. This is why they have stockpiled enough oxygen supplies for hospital during the COVID-19 surge in India.
We did inventories also across the different hospitals of the country, kung saan nakita natin lahat po sila sufficient ang kanilang existing na supplies for oxygen. But we would like to anticipate because in other countries, it took them twice as much as their current needs for oxygen na kinakailangan nila because of the surge that they've had.
However, according to health spokesperson Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, the oxygen supply must be doubled to prevent death of COVID-19 patients who are in severe and critical condition. Aside from oxygen tanks, oxygen concentrators that are oxygen-producing machines and mechanical ventilators are also needed.
We started doing our preparations already. So we coordinated with the Department of Trade and Industry. The DTI was also able to coordinate or work with the manufacturers of this oxygen in the country. At nakita natin, minapa kung ilan ang pinoproduce nitong mga oxygen suppliers natin in the country or manufacturers. As to the mechanical ventilators, meron po tayo mga ventilators na bago na procure at yung iba donation. Ito po ay pinapakalap natin sa mga ospital ngayon na mas nangangailangan itong mga makina na ito.
According to Department of Trade and Industry, manufacturers can produce 72,000 oxygen tanks daily, and they can double this number because of the demand this COVID-19 pandemic. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
There will be no strict quarantine restrictions in the Philippines amid the threat of the Delta variant. Meanwhile, travelers coming from Thailand and Malaysia can still enter the Philippines despite calls to include the fellow Asian countries under the Philippines travel restrictions. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
The government is strictly monitoring the COVID-19 situation in the country amid the threat of more transmissible Delta variant. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the health protocols such as wearing of masks, physical distancing, proper hand hygiene, and the vaccination of the public will be retained. Malacanang also says the government wants to ensure there's enough healthcare capacity in the country.
Mananatiling parehas ang ating mga estratehiya. Ngunit, mas papaintingin pa po natin ang pagpapatupad ng minimum public health protocols.
Local government units must also follow the prevent, detect, isolate, test, treat, or PDITR strategy. According to presidential spokesperson Roque, the imposition of strict quarantine restrictions will depend on the 2-week average attack and daily attack rate of COVID-19 as well as the healthcare utilization rate. Meanwhile, the palace reiterates that the imposition of travel restrictions are based on the prevalence of COVID-19 in a country or territory.
Hanggat maaari, dahil mga karatig bansa natin yan at yan ang pinakamalapit na mga bansa sa atin, ay iniiwasan natin ang travel ban. Pero kapag meron talagang bantana, gaya na nangyari sa Indonesia na 97% ng prevalence ng Delta variant sa kanila, ay nagdedeklara na tayo ng travel ban.
This was Secretary Roque's response when asked why the government has not yet imposed travel ban for travelers from Malaysia and Thailand, which have reported daily high COVID-19 cases due to Delta variant. Also, the Interagency Task Force Against COVID-19 is set to meet tomorrow to decide on the recommendations of the Metro Manila mayors to suspend rule allowing kids outdoors in the National Capital Region. Health experts say that children could be silent spreaders of the Delta variant in their family. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines recorded today 6,560 new cases of the novel coronavirus disease or COVID-19, pushing the nationwide case count to 1,524,449. In its latest bulletin, the Department of Health said that the number of active cases in the country increased to 47,996. Of these, 92.1% are mild, 1.8% are asymptomatic. 1.84% are moderate, 2.6% are severe, and 1.6% are in critical condition. Meanwhile, 5,364 new survivors were logged. These brought the recovery tally to 1,449,579. The death toll, however, climbed to 26,874 after 32 more patients died. Meanwhile, the overall global COVID-19 caseload and death toll stood at 191,469,012 and 4,118,633 respectively, according to the Johns Hopkins University. The USA is the worst hit country with 34,174,774 total cases and 609,529 deaths. India follows on second spot with 31,216,337 confirmed cases and 418,480 deaths. In terms of deaths, Brazil comes second with 544,180 fatalities and 19,419,437 total cases. Other countries with more than 5 million confirmed coronavirus cases are France Russia, Turkey, and the United Kingdom.
Several local government units in Metro Manila have started administering the one-shot Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines to residents as local officials aim for population protection next month. Marvin Calas reports.
San Juan is one of the cities in Metro Manila to start inoculating the Johnson COVID-19 vaccines donated by the United States through the COVAX facility. 2,800 doses of the Janssen vaccine were given to San Juan LGU to be allocated for its residents. Mayor Francis Zamora says the vaccines are convenient to use.
So hindi ho komplikado ang handling. Once you bring it out, you have 6 hours to vaccinate it. Each vial has 5 doses. So very simple ang handling niya. In fact, very convenient sa totoo lang, sapagkat kahit yung mga vaccinators namin, siyempre, imbis na 2 beses sila babakunahan yung mga mamamayan namin, 1 beses na lang. It makes life easier for everyone.
About 600 senior citizens and persons with comorbidity underwent vaccination in San Juan Arena with the Janssen vaccines, which only requires 1 dose.
I don't have to wait for the second dose, no, like the other ones. So I'm extremely happy at lucky that I'm here for the first day.
Okay lang kahit ano, pero nung nalaman ko na J&J, di mas masaya kasi 1 dose lang siya.
Caloocan City has also started the Janssen vaccination today. 10,300 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines were allocated to the city and to be distributed in various barangays. The covered court in Barangay 152 is one of the areas which serves as a vaccination site in Caloocan to start inoculating the Janssen COVID-19 vaccines today. But due to the large number of vaccinated senior citizens in the barangay's previous vaccinations, only a few got vaccinated today.
Ever since naman, madami-dami na din po kami nabigyan na senior. Since nung Astra, Sinovac, madami na rin po. Kaya siguro yung ngayon talaga, siguro yung huli na magdesisyon, siguro mas aanuhin na nila lalo na 1 dose lang.
So very advantage talaga to sir sa mga senior citizen kasi unang-una single shot nang siya. So hindi na sila mahihirapan na pupunta dito para pipila ulit. At saka syempre pag nabigyan sila ng bakuna, malaki talaga ang porsyento na maprotektahan sila against dun sa COVID-19 na virus.
Apart from Metro Manila, several provinces also received their Johnson & Johnson vaccine allocation, such as in Lapu-Lapu, Cebu, Panay, Cagayan de Oro, and in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao or BARM. Marvin Calas, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Lawmakers are planning to file a petition for mandamus before the Supreme Court seeking to mandate or compel the Department of Health and the Food and Drug Administration to facilitate and expedite the process of allowing the immediate manufacture, importation, and use of Ivermectin nationwide as a reliable drug against COVID-19. According to Representatives Mike Defensor and Rodante Marcoleta, the medicine could help address the grave threat brought by the Delta variant to public health.
It's about time that we really file a case in the Supreme Court. Why? Because ang fear ho namin, papasok na yung Delta variant. And it's happening all over the world.
I think we are calling the virtuous courage of the Supreme Court to resolve and dispose this national issue.
For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screens and ring the bell for notifications. You may also follow us on Facebook. With just days before his final State of the Nation address, President Rodrigo Duterte has started to rehearse his speech on what Filipinos will expect in his last term in office. Meanwhile, presidential daughter Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio will not be around during her father's speech. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte's speech for his 6th State of the Nation address has been finalized. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the president will focus on attaining economic growth in his last year in office.
Ang alam ko po, ang magiging forma ng kanyang SONA ay Titingnan po niya yung mga nakalipas na 5 taon na siya ay naging presidente at popokus po siya siyempre sa pag-unlad ng bayan, dun sa ating mga social programs, infrastructure, peace and security, foreign policy.
The president is also expected to mention his plans and priorities for the remaining term of his administration. Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Roque revealed that presidential daughter and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio will not be physically present at the SONA, but most of the cabinet members will be.
Inaasahan po natin na kung sino yung nakarating last year ay makakarating din po. Ang kabinete po ay imbitado at inaasahan natin na karamihan sa miyembro ng kabinete ay makakarating din po.
Also, Malacanang says it is the House of Representatives who have sent the SONA invitation to Vice President Leni Robredo. There's no confirmation yet if former Philippine presidents will attend the 6th SONA of President Duterte. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police has found a boost with the designation of the National Democratic Front of the Philippines as a terrorist group. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
There will be no alibis. The Philippine National Police can now arrest members of the National Democratic Front of the Philippines after the Anti-Terrorism Council designated the group as terrorist. PNP Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar says they will intensify their operations against the terrorist group to finally end their illegal activities.
Napakarami ng mga miyembro at leader ng CPP-NPA na ginagawang dahilan ang pagiging umano'y pisto consultants kapag sila ay naaresto.
Eleazar adds the ETC declaration will further boost their anti-terrorism campaign.
Sinusuportahan ng PNP ang deklarasyong ito at patuloy na makakaasa ang ating mga kababayan ng agresibong kampanya upang makamit natin ang tunay na kapayapaan at kaunlaran na hinahadlangan ng mga grupong ito.
Meanwhile, the PNP chief reported that the number of rebels in southern Mindanao has dropped based on the record of the 10th Infantry Division of the Philippine Army. Out of 23 armed groups, there are now only 6 groups remaining in the region. 18,433 communist rebels have also surrendered since 2016, including 92 young warriors, based on the report of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC. General Eleazar also says the decrease in number of the enemies of the state can be attributed to the government's campaign against insurgency. Leah Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A PDP-Laban official bared the party's potential senatorial candidates for the 2022 elections. The list includes cabinet members, re-electionists, and even celebrities. However, according to President Duterte's close aide, Senator Bong Go, they are still finalizing the lineup. Nel Maribuhok reports.
President Rodrigo Duterte's initial list of senatorial lineup that was shared by PDP-Laban Vice President for the Visayas, Eastern Samar Governor Ben Evardone, is just a result of the party members' discussion. This according to Senator Bong Go, the President's close aide.
As of now, wala pa pong final list. Yung inilabas ni Governor Evardone ay initial list lang po yun, base po sa mga diskusyon with the party members.
The senator said there are indeed some cabinet members and some politicians who wants to be included in the senatorial slate of the president.
Meron pong mga siyam na cabinet members, meron pong mga re-electionists, at meron pong mga comebacking na senators na gusto pong luminya sa ating mahal na Pangulo. At meron din pong mga baguhang pangalan na gusto pong sumama sa Senate slate ng ating mahal na Pangulo.
Based on the initial list shared by Evardone, included in the lineup are MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos, PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar, PACC Chairman Greco Belica, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III, DICT Secretary Gringo Onasan, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, Presidential Spokesman Harry Roque, Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade, DPWH Secretary Mark Villar, Senator Mig Zubiri, Antique Representative Loren Legarda, JV Ejercito, Rafi Tulfo, and Willie Revillame. Congresswoman Legarda confirmed she will run for senator and will campaign with Senator Mig Zubiri.
Napagdesisyon na namin na dahil magandang aming samahan at shared advocacy sa Senado ay cross-party lines dahil ako naman ay NPC, siya ay independent at ang ibang kasamahan namin ay iba't ibang partido pero we will be campaigning together when possible.
For his part, Secretary Roque says he wants to focus first on his task.
Pero sa ngayon po, nakatutok po tayo sa ating katungkulan. Tayo po'y bumalik bilang spokesperson sa panahon ng pandemya dahil naniniwala tayo na kinakailangan ng factual at accurate ang mga information ng taong bayan sa panahon ng pandemya.
The palace spokesman assures that incumbent officials can take advantage of their position for the upcoming elections.
Alam niyo naman po, meron talagang specific prohibitions kapag yung mga taong ito ay tatakbo na. As soon as they file their certificate of candidacy, which is months ahead of elections, more than 6 months, kinakailangan po sila magbitiw sa kanilang pwesto para walang undue advantage.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
It's a goal for Lacson-Soto tandem in 2022. Senate President Vicente Soto III has confirmed that he will be running for Vice President with Senator Panfilo Lacson as the President. Meanwhile, Senator Laila de Lima announces her bid for re-election, saying that her unjust detention only strengthened her resolve to fight the administration's injustice. This report will tell us why. Senator Panfilo Lacson will be gunning for the presidency, with Senate President Vicente Soto III as his vice president. The two lawmakers are the first tandem to confirm their bid for the country's two highest positions. According to Soto, they will officially launch their tandem on August 4. Lacson and Soto had conducted a series of consultative meetings with local officials in various sectors in Luzon. In an interview, Soto said some of the reasons that made them decide to run include their love of country, their programs to address pressing issues, and their track record in public service spanning decades. He also believes that they are the people's alternative, as they are neither pro-administration nor part of the opposition. Meanwhile, Senator Laila de Lima, who has been detained for 4 years, confirms she would seek re-election in the upcoming polls. In a letter addressed to President Duterte, the senator chided the president for his supposed failure to fulfill all his campaign promises. She adds the political persecution that she has been subjected to by the Duterte administration only strengthened her will to fight injustices, which prompted her to seek re-election. However, the palace counters the senator.
So, wala pong politika dyan. Now, kung tatakbo po siya, that's her right, no? Hanggang hindi po siya convicted with finality. Sana hindi siya ma-convict with finality bago dumating ang eleksyon.
Former Senator and now Sorsogon Governor Francis Cheese Escudero and House Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda also confirmed their bid for Senate comeback. The two also thanked Senator Soto for the endorsement, as they all belong to the same political party, Nationalist People's Coalition or NPC.
Gusto kong tumulong at umambag, ika nga sa laki ng problema ng bansa, all hands on deck tayo dapat. Gamit ang aking nalalaman, kaalaman, eksperyensya, karanasan at anumang talento.
There's much more I want to do in the Senate, not just on climate and environment, but importante, kabuhayan. Hindi naman dapat yung polarizing politics ang maghari. Ano ba ang mas urgent? Isalba natin ang ating sangkatauhan sa COVID at isalba natin mula sa climate crisis o yung bangayan ng political parties.
As various names of potential bets have begun emerging, Filipino voters are now confronted with a huge responsibility to start knowing their candidates and choose wisely. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A province in China has been hit by storms since weekend, resulting to flooding and death of a dozen people. Marvi Dauphin will give us the details live. Marvi?
Kath, heavy rainfall hit Hunan, China over the weekend, bursting major riverbanks, flooding dozens of cities and killing at least 12 people in the province's capital, Zhengzhou. According to weather authorities, Zhengzhou City documented a record-breaking rainfall as the city experiences an average 1 year worth of rain over the last 3 days. 457.5 millimeters of rainfall was recorded in 24 hours on Tuesday and over 201 millimeters in a single hour. Due to this calamity, subway train services has stopped as waist-deep flood water trapped commuters and an underground station turned into a pool. The flooding also submerged and swept away cars in a nearby city. The Hunan Province and Zhengzhou Municipal Meteorological Bureaus raised the emergency response to the highest level in response to the disaster. Over 100,000 people were relocated to safe zones as forecasts predict the storm to last until Wednesday night. Kath?
Marvy, what is the current situation in Henan, China after the downpour yesterday?
Kath, Chinese authorities are still on alert as Yetan Dam has a 20-meter breach and is on the verge of collapsing. The People's Liberation Army Central Command sent soldiers to carry out emergency response like blasting the dam and flood diversion. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Marvy Delfin, reporting live. Congress Party names President Narendra Modi of committing treason, breaching national security with Indian mobile phones targeted by Israeli spyware. Maven Dog tells us the details live. Yes, Maeve?
Kath, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, is being accused of treason by its rival Congress Party for revealing national security after speculations that many Indians were spied on by the Israel Technologies NSO spyware named Pegasus. An association of media corporations leaked a list of victims. In India, over 1,000 mobile numbers were among the nearly 50,000 numbers suspected to be victims of the Pegasus spyware clients. This included politicians, journalists, businessmen, and 2 ministers, Ashwini Vaishnaw and Prahlad Singh Patel, in Modi's government to be targeted. 2 journalists, Ritika Chopra and Vijayta Singh, have come forward to express their concern after being made aware their numbers were in the leaked list of targets. An inspection into Narendra Modi and his Home Minister and Internal Security Amit Shah was called out by the Congress Party, with Randeep Surjewala demanding Shah's resignation and answers from the president. Kath?
Maeve, aside from India, are there any other countries experiencing the spyware of Pegasus?
Well, Kath, the leaked list of the Pegasus suspected targets ranges from 10 countries. So that includes India, Hungary, Mexico, Morocco, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, the French President Emmanuel Macron is also a potential target, with his mobile number from 2017 being identified in the list of targets. Additionally, the spyware has also potentially targeted the Moroccan king along with Moroccan royals. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Maven Dog, for that live report. Patients experiencing long COVID-19 symptoms are treated with a unique therapeutic program through singing. Early Briones has the story.
Singing your way out to recovery. This is how it could be for COVID-19 patients. Using opera training to be exact, the method used by UCLA Medical Center have opera singers trained COVID-19 patients learn how to breathe again on their own. The program came after English National Opera developed a breathing and singing course for COVID-19 patients. The goal of the program is to strengthen the lungs' capacity and respiratory system while participants enjoy their music, which lessens their anxiety. Participants learn breathing techniques like enlarging the space between the diaphragm in our lungs and rib cage, same exercises that opera singers do for their performance. When a person is intubated, difficulty of breathing may occur, and this is how opera training helps COVID-19 patients to learn how to breathe properly. UCLA extended the program until end of 2021 for new patients and participants. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue, We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Labor and Employment will host a dialogue following the suspension of a number of Foodpanda riders in Davao City. Several Foodpanda riders said they were suspended for 10 years after the food delivery firm learned about their plan to take a rest day in a show of protest against the low income they have been getting since the middle of 2020. Before the pandemic, the riders were earning more than 50 pesos per delivery. But now they are receiving around 23 pesos.
Demands po namin, unang-una is ibalik yung access ng mga kasama namin, yung mga natanggalan, yung mga nasuspend ng 10 years. Tsaka regarding yung sa taong ito earnings, taasan nila. Tapos yung ilang araw kami na hindi naka-duty, so maghihingin kami ng doon, bayaran kami.
Meanwhile, Foodpanda said in a statement it made a difficult decision to off-board a small number of riders who have violated their agreement with Foodpanda by calling for disruptions that may affect the wider ecosystem, referring to other riders, vendors, and customers. Dole said they will issue a labor advisory for the guidance of both parties. A vaccination site in Manila was submerged in water after torrential rains brought by the southwest monsoon caused flood waters to rise. However, Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso still urges its residents to get vaccinated amid the storm. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why live. Asher, go ahead.
COVID-19 vaccination should continue as the virus also does not stop even while the metropolis is under the bad weather. Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso explains this as flood hits some areas in the city, including roads leading to some of the vaccination sites. Let's hear it from Mayor Dumagoso.
Tuloy ang bakunahan. Umulan, bumagyo, bumaha. Hindi tayo titigil kasi si COVID-19 hindi rin tumitigil.
Today, vaccinees endured the rain and flood brought about by Typhoon Fabian. Some of them explained they came in the vaccination sites as early as 4 in the morning until they experienced downpour and flood at around 8 in the morning. But they stayed in the queue to make sure that they get vaccinated. Some vaccinees explained that they did not let flood and rain hinder their way to getting themselves vaccinated against COVID-19, especially as Delta variant poses a bigger threat against their well-being. The Manila City government, on the other hand, increases its vaccine allocation to concerned vaccination sites. Mayor Dumagoso ensures that the vaccinees' efforts will not be in vain.
Tuloy ang bakunahan. Umulan, bumagyo, bumaha. Hindi tayo titigil kasi si COVID-19 hindi rin tumitigil. Ako ay humihingi ng pasensya sa taong bayan sa bahang dulot ng ulan. Pasensya na po kayo. Pero you must come. We must fight together. Kapit lang. Huwag kayo mababahala o mawawalan ng lakas ng loob.
Mayor Dumagoso also says that vaccination sites will continue tomorrow and in the next days until they have consumed all the vaccines for their residents. Diego.
Thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr.
And for our weather update. Typhoon Fabian has maintained its strength as it continues to move westward. State Weather Bureau Pegasus said as of 4 p.m., the center of Fabian was located at 655 kilometers northeast of Itbayat, Batanes. It has maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 185 kilometers per hour while moving westward at 10 kilometers per hour. According to Pag-asa, the typhoon is unlikely to bring heavy rainfall in the country throughout the forecast period. However, the southwest monsoon that is being enhanced by Fabian and the typhoon Sempaka outside the Philippine area of responsibility will cause monsoon rains in the next 24 hours over Ilocos Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, Batanes, Babuyan Islands, Zambales, Bataan, Tarlac, Pampanga, Bulacan, Metro Manila, Cavite, Batangas, Occidental Mindoro, and the northern portion of Palawan, including Calamian and Kalayaan Islands. No tropical cyclone wind signal is currently in effect, but residents and disaster managers of Batanes and Babuyan Islands are advised to monitor Pag-asa bulletins as the raising of tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 remains a possibility. Fabian will move generally westward and is forecast to further intensify and reach its peak intensity of 165 kilometers per hour on Friday. The typhoon may exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Saturday morning. Local authorities are now monitoring the water level of the Marikina River due to rains triggered by the southwest monsoon or habagat. JP Nunez has the details live. JP, give us the updates in your location.
Yes, Harleen, good evening. According to Marikina City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, as of 2 p.m. today, the water level in Marikina River is still below 13 meters. The Marikina City government has 4 alert levels. Alarm level 1 when the water is 15 meters above sea level or warning. Alarm level 2 when the water is in the river is 16 meters above sea level or prepare and people are advised to ready for evacuation. Alarm level 3 when the water is at the 17-meter level or voluntary evacuation. The 4th level or the critical level is adopted when the water is 18 or more meters above sea level and forced evacuation is implemented. Police personnel and rescuers are already deployed to patrol and advise the public for the immediate response if flash flood will occur. Among the areas of concerns are Barangay Santo Niño, Malanday, and Tumana, which are flood-prone areas. The Marikina City LGU has also evacuation camps. However, it was only limited to 30% capacity to avoid the possible spread of COVID-19, especially there is a threat of the Delta variant.
Bilang proactive approach din po, at 13 meters pa lang, malayo pa dun sa first alarm na 15 meters, nag-mobilize na agad kami ng mga evacuation camps na makapagbukas if in case may mga kababayan tayo na gusto na agad na lumikas. Pero as we speak, sa ngayon pong oras na to, wala po tayong evacuees.
That is the voice of Officer Dave David, the Chief of the Marikina City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office. That is our latest live. Back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, JP Nunez, for those live updates.
And before we close, we will leave you with the final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 22. It says, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord."
And those are the reasons behind the news, July 21st, 2021. I am Kat Dumaraos, sitting in for William Theo, live from Bangkok, Thailand.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people, we give glory to God.